Oh my God, like, can we talk about like the political and economic state of the world?
Okay, this is like my third take of doing this, but I'm not gonna give up. I want to keep trying this because I'm just really interested in kind of where I could take this like video essay format in terms of journalism because it's just something I obviously want to do with my life. And I think it's an intimate also way of reaching out to the void and trying to spread what you think is important because in the end that's kind of I feel like journalism is spreading what you think is important. Um and specifically too, I want to do this kind of more open format where you guys see the notes and see what exactly I'm going for, because I think journalists are the members of society that are charged with the task of asking questions. And, it's kind of turned into this proving our intellectual superiority to everyone. And that's just one of the many ways elitism has kind of taken over the intellectual sphere. And maybe it always has. Maybe I'm just, one of the many broken records of time making this realization and coming to this, but that's just what I feel like now. And yeah, I just feel like let's not it's not cool to gatekeep anything, any knowledge of anything. I think that's something that should be fully transparent. And yeah, you guys should see how I'm getting the information, and you guys should see uh what I think is important and kind of use that to, I don't know, keep the conversation going, I guess. So yeah, just keeping this dialogue. So yeah, let's get into said dialogue. Um, so today I want to talk about uh, DEI, and specifically DEI's presence on Virginia Tech, because Monday and Tuesday, which is tomorrow right now, I don't know when this is going to get out and when I'm going to edit this, but it's tomorrow, and it's also Tuesday that the Virginia Tech Board of Visitors, which is the governing body of Virginia, is going to gather and vote on the future of DEI at Virginia Tech as we know it. So let's get into it. What is DEI? So DEI stands for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, a framework and set of initiatives designed to promote fair treatment and full participation for all individuals, especially those from historically marginalized groups. Historically marginalized groups. This is America. There's so many, right? So I think people don't realize just how many people are uh, qualify for DEI and are benefiting from these programs, rightfully so. Diversity is the presence of differences in a group. That's something that I feel like if you are just a baseline good person, you wouldn't be against. Okay, hopefully we can agree on that. If we can't, maybe actually, if we can't, you should really keep watching the whole thing. But equity is ensuring fair treatment and opportunity, and inclusion is creating a culture where everyone feels a sense of belonging and respect. That's kind of the operative word here, respect. If I could just say in one word, what is DEI about? I'd say respect. These are the qualities of respect. Inclusion, equality, equity. Yeah, that's just, I think, in the most simple way to say this is what respect is for your fellow human being. And you don't need to have, I guess, I don't know. I don't think you need, you can say yes to respecting your fellow human being inherently, despite their differences from you. And I know that for some people that's not like common sense. I mean, I don't want to sound rude, but that's like not their kind of common sense, and that's something that fine, you have to learn. And hopefully, which is why I want to do this, is to give that source of great, you want to learn it. Here's how you can learn it. So, Let's look specifically again, because this is all going to keep circling back to Virginia Tech, because this is what the video is at its core. It's about Virginia Tech. So yeah, but it's about Virginia Tech. But if your university is also doing the same thing or having the same discussion, this is kind of something that could also apply to you. So, definitely don't think that you have to be a Virginia Tech, a Hokie, I guess, to watch this. You can learn from this even if you don't go to Virginia Tech. Anyways, so yeah, so let's look at the table, because here I got just the basic facts, the facts that we all learn actually at Virginia Tech in our first year experience classes when we learn about the history of Virginia Tech is these kind of things. The first female graduate, 1928. The first black graduate, 1958, 30 years apart. So I want to really show the numbers. So I'm just at collegetuitioncompare.com, and they do these kind of, I guess, surveys on things like this. I mean, there's research on just about every aspect of society. So these tools are at your disposal. You could, you've got this in the back of your pocket. This is like an encyclopedia. This is everyone's dream. Like, more than an encyclopedia. I don't even know how those work. So let's just get back to this. What I do know I'm talking. What I really know what to talk about. So 2015 to 2016 is where this starts, and you can kind of see Virginia Tech has a population of 35,000 on average. This is what these are the figures for white people. I mean, all the way down to 2024, which was last year. Like, they're strong. They're getting steady high numbers. But then you see like Hispanics and black people and Native Americans and even Asian like students, and they're still in the thousands. They're not We've got a long way to go before any of this looks equal, right? So that's where we are right now. And yet, we're questioning if DEI is even needed. And I just think that just looking at the numbers, you would say, "Oh, no, this has not been done. The goal of this, the situation that we're trying to remedy, the wrongs that we're trying to remedy have not been successfully completed." And yet, we're going to vote and decide. Okay. Well, why? Where's that where is that conversation coming from? And that is the Trump executive order. I have to sing that because it's really scary what this guy can do and what this guy has proved to be able to get done. Um yeah, he what so let's back up. What is an executive order? Because this is one of the things I don't like that journalism kind of does a lot in these big name, kind of prestigious publications. They kind of just say the words at you, but they don't tell you what they're talking about. So I don't want to just say Trump passed this executive order. He signed this executive order. Let's talk about first, what is an executive order? So, an executive order is a signed, written, and published directive from the President of the United States that manages operations of the federal government. And I got that from the American Board, or the American Bar. All right, I took a little water break, but because my voice was getting tired. But let's get back into it now that we know what an executive order is. I want to talk about what it's not. So, what an executive order is not is a king decreeing to his subjects. Executive orders aren't legislation. They don't require approval from Congress, and Congress cannot simply overturn them. Congress may pass legislation that might make it difficult or even impossible to carry out the order, such as removing funding, which is we can kind of touch on this a little bit real quick. I see the like most prominent critique I feel like I see a lot of people, especially my age, have about the Biden administration, and this is not me defending him, is oh, how is Trump able to get this stuff done at such a rate? Like, it kind of feels like Trump says something and the next day it's coming into fruition. And It's because he has Congress on his side. You know, he's got that place packed. He's got his good little soldiers there, and ultimately, it's making the job easier. Oh, and his little soldiers in the Supreme Court. Almost forgot about that. Um, so yeah, but it's really important to remember that it's not. This is not a. This is not something we just have to inherently take. We still have rights. So yes, they're influential, but they're not passed by Congress in the end of at the end of the day, and that's why they can be challenged in a court of law and possibly found unconstitutional, or they can simply just be found to kind of be past the authority of the president, and that court setting is where that kind of realization and that remedy would happen, overturning the order. So yeah, that's kind of the checks and balances of it all, of the system, you know, to keep that whole thing of the president kind of coming off as a king, a monarch, which is at our foundation of a nation what we don't want. So, gotta remember that. So, let's circle back to VT and where they come in. So, by them, Virginia Tech is this influential, huge institution, in my opinion, and their budget is $2.5 billion. So, that's a pretty large budget. You can do a lot with that. But let's talk about where that is coming from. And this is kind of common sense, especially if you're from Virginia, especially if you go to Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech is hella sponsored by the government and by the military. And they don't want to lose that funding because at the end of the day, it's all about money. Which, here's a fun thing to add. They're also discussing raising the tuition at this meeting. So this meeting is covering a lot, actually. It's talking about cutting liberal arts, solidifying that liberal arts programs, which, you know, as someone in that falls under that scope and trying to graduate, it's kind of like, oh, please stop. I mean, I think the English master's program is even getting cut. So, but let's get back to this. Why do they want to cater to Trump? Because he's the sitting president. He has the power right now. His party has the power right now. And you know, they don't want to rock the boat. They want to keep that money. And I just want to show real quick this article from Virginia Tech News. Multi-million dollar award from US Army to fund advanced manufacturing research. And this was posted August 18th, 2025. So Trump was president. Yeah, Trump was president. That was this summer. So yeah, why lose out on this funding by, you know, having some balls and saying, no, we're gonna challenge this. Which is something UVA tried to do, but they ultimately caved to. So, but they at least put up a fight in the beginning, or kind of acted like they were going to. Virginia Tech's not even gonna, you know, they're not even gonna front like that. Like, why lie? Let's wear. I think a lot of people are feeling emboldened right now by this administration because they know that they're going to be supported by the people in power, you know, to do these outlandish things, things that we kind of see as this backwards thinking and something of the past, but it's really not anything of the past. I mean, the black graduate from 1958 died in 2010, so he fully knew what Shrek was. You know, that joke about Rosa Parks technically could have being able to see the like second Shrek or something. It's that same thing. So yeah, that's just what I think about that real quick. Basically what this whole thing is what I think about that. But yeah. So this is the VT student response so far that I've personally been seeing. There could be stuff that I just haven't seen, but this is just the org I'm part of. So I'm part of YDSA, the Virginia Tech chapter, and they have posted about a protest happening on Monday. No education without representation. BOV you can't hide. VT caves to Trump. Blah, blah, yada yada yada. And actually today, while I was driving in Christiansburg, I saw a Trump 2024 sign that used to just say that. It now says, it's like spray painted in red, resist Trump 2024, which I think is pretty cool and kind of gives you I mean, Virginia now has its first female governor and she's a Democrat. So I think that kind of shows you like Does Virginia feel safe having a Republican governor while we have a Republican president, or while Trump himself is president? Food for thought. But yeah, so this is kind of what's going on. So um, I don't really know if I can like loudly say the details of the protest. I'll have to check with some board members, but if I can, it's Monday at 1:30 p.m. So Monday, that's November 17th, and it's going from Squires to Burris. I don't even know how to pronounce that hall's name, but that's where it's going from, and that's where that's where the Virginia Tech students are taking it in their hands. But, the reason I want to do this is because I think that it's kind of the time that now even the non politically active students start to get involved, because this is going to affect them. And, we're, we don't need to, we don't need to go backwards. Let's not do this whole like one step forward, five steps back, because that's what this is, honestly. DEI is kind of just a bunch of old white guys feeling threatened and not liking that the world is kind of moving in the direction that decenters them. That's the truth of it all. So I want to end this with this Willie Colon song. It's called Plastico, and I'm gonna read it the English lyrics because I think it kind of summarizes what the point I really want to get across in this video. So it was a plastic city, one of those I don't want to see, with cancerous buildings and a heart of gold, where instead of a sun, a dollar rises, where no one laughs, where no one cries, with people with polyester faces, who listen without hearing and look without seeing. People who sold for comfort, their reasons for being and their freedom. Yeah, so then he's kind of just, calling out to his people. Shout out to my people. Never sell your destiny for gold or comfort. Never rest, because we still have a long way to go. And yeah, that's kind of my message to the non-politically active students. Don't sell for comfort. Yes, these are scary times, and yes, it is taxing emotionally to be involved and kind of keep up with what's going on. But at the end of the day, you don't do politics. Politics do you. Like, I could have probably worded that better, but that's really. So I think I'm just gonna end it with that. I think I've read enough stuff out loud. See you later. Till next time. Till next catastrophic event.